Hello and welcome to the MYOB Greentree update for August 2018. What am I going to go through? Going to go through the 2018.2 release. There'll be an overview of what's in this release, what's coming up in 2018.3, and as usual, any feedback and questions and where to send that to. Okay, 2018.2.0. This was released at the end of June. I have to apologise for the late update coming out here. But hopefully this short video today will take you through the main points of what's out in this release. Release notes were done up on campus and in Salesforce on the knowledge base. They're in campus, so you can still filter by topic and by version. And in the knowledge base, they're there as one complete document. So just search for release notes and you'll see them there. So it's in the highlights of this release. There was 130 plus bug fixes. We like to think there's something for everybody in there. Covers a range of topics. The release notes have got these detailed out. New functionality for the Windows Designer, the ability to move UDFs. C++ redistributables, talk about those. Number of changes to the new UI. For Australia, the taxable payments report. And the Click certification for version 12. And on the browser, some licensing changes around approvals, HR requests, and the pricing availability is resolved as well. Touch on all that. Okay. Windows Designer and the moving of the UDF fields. So when we did the initial EAP for the Windows Designer, what came out of the EAP exercise was most partners and most customers that were involved in that EAP wanted the ability to move UDFs and trees off there. Currently, of course, you can move them as sections, so you can move the whole block. If you haven't got many, that may also be relevant to you. But also the ability to move the individual fields was really important. Given the time constraints and we wanted to get that Windows Designer functionality out, we moved the work into this release for at least the UDFs. So here's an example. I've just taken a couple of screenshots of how that works. So my example here is to move that review date. So in the standard demo system, take that review date and move it onto a separate tab or sheet. So there it is. I'm moving that review date down to the bottom there, onto the main tab. So just moving that field rather than the whole section. Well, you can see when you're, excuse me, when you're in that Windows Designer mode, you can see that we've got this location column here and it's telling you where that is. I guess that's fairly obvious, but it's because the ability to move individual fields, you might be moving them to different tabs or different sheets. So therefore the ability to know where they are is important. So we've put that information there as well. Okay, the C++ redistributables in 2018.2. We have removed the requirement for these redistributables to be installed. But please note, you need to be upgraded to 2018.2.0 before you can uninstall them. So it's really past this point. So upgrade to this release, then you can uninstall them. But of course, that also comes with the caveat of please be aware that there might be other software outside Greentree that may still require these redistributables. Not much we can do about that, but obviously it's a bit of a stating the obvious, but please check that. In Australia, the taxable payments report. So once you upgraded to this release, in AP module control, you see an option down here, the taxable payments report. So when that's set to true, on the supplier, there becomes a new tab, the taxable reporting tab. We can set the contractor or the grant recipient. And therefore, when I'm entering an AP invoice, you see another tab appear for that supplier. If that's set to true, the taxable reporting tab itself. And on there, you've got the materials only and the exclusion. Okay, just a bit around the price and availability licensing on the browser. We've changed the way the permissions are done around the price and availability inquiry on the browser. So from 2018.2, I guess it goes without saying that the company must have the inventory module, and the user must have one of these: distribution for the Windows client, or browser inquiry, or browser sales. I've got a brief screenshot I'll show you in a second. There are some details, or more details in the release notes. So look at there if none of this makes any sense. And here's a brief screenshot where you'll see up here I've got distribution highlighted here on the Windows client, and I've got inquiry under the browser client section here, and sales here. So I guess what I'm trying to say, and what also the release notes go into a little bit more detail, is you only need one of these options set to true for that price and availability to become available on the browser. So it just tidies up that area. Approvals badge on the browser. So some of you will be aware that up until 2018.2, you need a CRM Basics license to enable the approvals badge. Now, for some people, we gave them temporary registration codes because they didn't have the CRM Basics license, and some of them we gave you temporary codes to increase your CRM Basics and sometimes your System Manager count. So at 2018.2, this is now resolved, so you won't need those temporary registration codes. We appreciate that not everybody's going to upgrade straight away, so we're not going to take them all away. So the approvals badge now appears on the browser, on the user, I should say, for simply when there is documents that need to be approved. So that's the browser-based documents. So for example, the timesheets, the quotes, leave requests, service requests, or calls. And there's more details around that in the release notes, but just to be aware that is a fix that's come in. So what's coming in 2018.3? So this is scheduled for release in late September or early October. There's quite a bit coming in this release, so we're trying to get as much in as we can. But the highlights include Clixsense Integration. So some of you will have heard about this, and some of you will have seen it, and some of you have done some work in this as well. There is an EAP that will be starting shortly to get some more people involved in that. So you'll see those invitations go out. This stuff is looking really good. Performance improvements, some of you will be involved in this as well. And we're hoping to get some more out in the 2018.3 release. So speeding up areas that are causing a lot of performance issues for people. So we're doing a lot of work with Jade on that, and in specific partners where that we know there are issues or issues have been reported. Team security. So this is quite a big one. This is a project that's been going on in the background now. The EAP has now been completed. So while you won't actually see any changes around that team security area simply from a screen or a visual point of view, there's quite a bit changed in terms of how it works. As we all know, there were a few challenges around that team security, and subsequently I think it's fair to say that a lot of people didn't implement it where they maybe should have, just because of the larger sites. So this has undergone a lot of work, and there's now consistency across the board, separating out team security and user preferences and how that works. So there'll be quite a lot of details coming out here when the release comes out. If you want to know more, feel free to get in touch with me. There has been some stuff posted up on Salesforce on the discussion group, but I appreciate everybody's busy and you may have just glanced over it, but feel free to reach out if you want to know some more details or you think it might impact some of your sites. New Zealand Holidays Act changes, work's going on. The discovery work for New Zealand payday reporting, which is the New Zealand equivalent of single touch payroll or STP, which is coming in 1st of April next year. More items from the ideas portal and also bug fixes as well. So that's just a taste of what's coming. So it's going to be quite a big release in terms of what comes out in this. So again, apologies for the late release of this video, just highlighting those changes in 2018.2. I appreciate that a lot of Australian sites will have already moved past this due to the STP changes that were needed. But for other sites who have yet to get to this point, don't have STP, not relevant for them, hopefully this covers the highlights. Just a reminder, the release notes are on Campus and in Salesforce. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will either answer them or I can go out to the wider team and find the answer for you. Not a problem. Just get in touch. So again, this is a pretty brief video, but hopefully covers the main points. And have a good day. Thanks, everyone.